Tonight on tonight's episode is brought to you by Satan. I'm a huge fan of his cell, so I inked a deal for him to sponsor us tonight. Tonight on Ramblers Unleashed. How much does Baron love Liv Morgan's song? How does Jaybone stay up so far past his bedtime? What does Max have planned for Grandpa and Styles? All this and more next on Ramblers Unleashed.
This is Max Magius. My co-host would have you believe that kids shouldn't be listening to our show because we use fucking bad language. I say they have to learn sometimes, so put the little shit next to the computer and viewer discretion is advised.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
Right now? Like, right this second? Holy crap, it's Tuesday night. We got to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ramblers Unleashed, your weekly episodic podcast for news from the world, WWE, AEW, TNA, and sometimes more. Disney is on special assignment tonight. He's demanding to speak with Adam Pearce to put a stop to these early PLEs and weekly TV shows. He wouldn't be doing that if I hadn't got distracted a couple weeks ago by Alexa Bliss. My apologies. Let's introduce the Ramblers. Up first, the man who is higher than a jet airliner and whose signature catchphrase is and always will be
420. And as you guys can see right now, we're having technical difficulties here with our camera. I'm here. If it happens tonight, I don't know if I got like something, my cord is screwed or whatever the case may be. I am here, and I can't believe I started the show properly this time, Max.
Well, you did great. Your camera, on the other hand, is trying to give off some main character energy, but that's all right. There you are. You're moving.
It is the main character of the show. You're going to see that a lot tonight, folks.
So, everybody, let's give a round of applause for the Baron.
Glad to be here, man. I think I missed the last couple weeks with work and things, birthday and all that fun jazz, but glad to be here. We had a hell of a wrestling weekend.
We did. There was a lot of wrestling over the weekend. Before we move on, let's also give a round of applause to Baron's camera for cooperating.
I can't move. If I hit anything on this table, there's a good chance we are going to be fucking with that all night. And let me tell you, I don't want to. All
right, guys. He will be joining us very soon. Something came up in real life. He's dealing with that. Up next, the man who has spent more hours studying TNA and Lucha Underground than any other wrestling fan in the history of pro wrestling. Give it up for Jaybone. Like I said, he'll be here in a few minutes, so he says. All right, guys, up next, the other member of the Ramblers crew, for without you, we'd just be a bunch of idiots talking to each other on a video call. Give it up for yourselves over there in the chat. And now, YouTube, acknowledge me. Sean kind of started that in the Discord, so.
Someone in that chat better fucking acknowledge him after that. That's all I'm going to say. Acknowledge that man. I, of course, acknowledge Max at all times, but I need someone in the chat to please throw up a finger.
All right, guys. We had a very busy weekend wrestling-wise. There is a lot to go over, and we need to get into this. However, we are only going to talk about the two shows that we did picks on last week. Unfortunately for Baron, he did not give me picks for Slammiversary. So
I knew I forgot to send that to you. Yeah,
it's okay. It's fine. So even though we're going to go over it, he's not going to have any points. Tell you what, let's take a vote in the chat. If you think I should just grant him all the points, give me a 1. If you think I should give him half points, give me a 2. If you think I should give him no points, give me a 3. All right, while you're doing that, I want to talk about one thing before we get into all this. I want to talk about a guy. What kind of... I saw that. You think I didn't see that? but I saw that. What kind of guy goes out, gets surgery, and then forgets about his podcasting friends? I swear, we brought the guy in to handle complaints, gave him a slot on the show, and then Styles just forgets about us. So rude.
We miss him. Hopefully he's out there in the world of Grand Theft Auto or PUBG or whatever the case may be, running wild and doing his thing out there. But obviously, when he's ready to come back, seat's always open. We love
right.
Styles over here.
If you hear this, Styles, you know where to find us. All right. I am sorry, Baron, you have been outvoted.
I see that. I'm not impressed with Mir nor Sean.
Well, listen, if it makes you feel any better, and we'll get to that here soon to talk about who scored what on the shows, I didn't beat you by much, all right? For Slammiversary. For Night of Champions, we kind of tied.
Slammiversary is something like neither one of us watch much TNA. I try to get into it as much as I possibly can. It just falls on a weird night and then work and all this other shit, you know. I don't get enough TNA fix in, which I regret.
Well, there's been some departures from TNA, as we talked about last week, and I think they talked about the week before. We do have an article tonight about the shift in employees, workers at TNA. Jaybone should hopefully be here with us by then. There is a name that he wants to touch on that is no longer with TNA following Slammiversary. I'm going to let him bring that up. If he's not here by the time we get to TNA, I will say that for him once we get there. Let's talk about Night of Champions, and I'm going to blow right through this. We'll talk about it after and do points, and then we got to talk about something major that came out of it. So Obafemi pinned Jey Uso in the King of the Ring tournament final. The stipulations of this match state that he is supposed to get a world championship match at SummerSlam. We're going to discuss that not happening in just a minute. Io Sky defeated Liv Morgan, setting up for them to face off again at SummerSlam. Seth Rollins defeated Braun Breaker, and he will be going on to face Roman Reigns. Trick Williams defeated Ricky Saints for the United States Championship. Tiffany Stratton defeated Jade Cargill and Jade Cargill's wig for the Women's United States Championship. And in the main event, I think we were all a little surprised about how this turned out. Sami Zayn defeated Cody Rhodes and Gunther by pinfall. He got a quick roll-up on Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed WWE Championship. I love Sami Zayn. I have no problems with him winning. I was a little surprised, though. I just didn't see it going this way.
It's Saudi, man. People forgot where he's at.
I mean, it wasn't that I forgot where he's at. I just...
I was surprised too.
I really thought Gunther was who they were building to take the title from Cody. I'm not upset. I love Gunther. I think he deserves his title at some point. But I'm good with this. It's been a long time coming for Sami, so we're very happy for you, Sami. But we had to talk about Boba versus Brock. First off, this match means that he has given up his SummerSlam championship match because they're not going to let him do both in the same night. And Oba demanded this match, so he had no choice but to relinquish the SummerSlam championship match that he earned. I'll allow it. That means it's a three-way tie. That means that I'm going to have to be the tiebreaker here in a minute. We'll come back to that.
I think one's the only option for the chat going forward. So let's just throw the ones up there.
Anyway. So that sets up for Seth versus Roman at SummerSlam for the heavyweight title. We don't know who's going to be doing the SmackDown side. Sami may or may not still have the title. Who's he going to be facing? We don't know any of that. The one stipulation we're all expecting to be added for Oba versus Brock is Brock's retirement. It's Minneapolis. It makes sense that this is where that's going to take place. I'm not sure when they will announce that that's the stipulation. So far, the only stip we added was that it's a Hell in a Cell, and that was demanded by Brock Lesnar.
So you're saying that you think it should be a stipulation, or like a retirement match?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not just saying I think it should be. I'm saying that I am 98% sure that it's going to be.
Meaning that it got to be publicized, right? Meaning
publicized, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't feel like that has to happen, nor is going to happen. I think Brock's going to... I just don't see him retiring, right? I think he still has that itch a little bit, but we all know my feelings on Brock. I don't think it has to be. I think getting his ass beat, riding out to the sunset, hometown, call it a day.
It's not a matter of whether it has to be or not. It's a matter of who's putting this match on. And they want to make it very clear what the outcome of this match means before we go into it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. If you know that this is if you know this is the last match that they're planning to retire, that they are done in the pro wrestling world, WWE is like, we got to tell the fans that's what we're doing. Let's be honest, it doesn't always work. I'm looking at you, Ric Flair. But that's what WWE does. If they know that they're retiring Brock after this match, and that's what Brock's plan is, they're going to make it public. They're going to make a really big deal out of it. Why? Because all those Brock Lesnar fans that maybe haven't been watching wrestling lately because Brock's been gone are going to tune in. They're going to watch this because they are going to know it's their last chance to see Brock in a match.
Yeah, I get it. I still don't agree with how that happened, though. They should have really fucked. I think my prediction was, and I'm sure we'll go through it, but I really think it should have been the grittier style of Brock fucking him over and not waiting until we all knew match 3 had to happen, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we all said this for the last month and a half, almost 2 months now. So I'm ready to see it happen. I'm ready for Oba to beat the fuck out of him in a couple minutes and call it a day.
Here's the problem, okay? Having Brock come out and interfere in the match, giving Jey Uso the win, would set up for Jey versus Cody, and that would still leave us with Seth versus Roman and set up Oba versus Brock. The problem is that's very predictable booking. That's pedestrian. I like that Triple H is trying to change it up and make it harder to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, but if Jey won, right? And who has he been kind of feuding with a little bit here and there, and who's always been around is Sami Zayn, right? So you put the belt on Sami, and now Jey and Sami make sense. In a sense, right? Split Jey out of, Jey has a belt, Roman has a belt. Or you could have done Roman versus Jey, which I think that was supposed to be leading up to that. I think that's with what is happening backstage. I feel like that's why this doesn't make sense. There's flaws in this booking.
Yeah, and you know what? That's how I would have done it, Jey versus Roman. But I don't think they're ready to go that route, especially since we did Jey versus Roman at the end of the original Bloodline run.
Yeah, but the way they just been taking those backstage segments, and you could see the rift a little bit happening, right?
Right.
So I was expecting that to happen. That's kind of why I picked Jey. I think, I just I was a little taken back with the booking a little bit.
Well, I mean, I was surprised, but I'm going to call it pleasant surprise. I just like I was pleasantly surprised last week when it was Lyra that snapped. Because this whole time we have thought that because of the split personality thing they're doing with Bayley, we thought it was going to be Bayley that snapped, but they pleasantly surprised me by going in a completely different direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to Slammiversary. I was hoping he would have joined us by now to be a part of the Slammiversary discussion, but that's on him. He's dealing with something. So,
what was our what was our picks?
Oh, yeah, that's an excellent point. Let me jump to that real quick. All right, so everybody picked Jey Uso. Nobody got the point for that. Jaybone and Baron both picked Io, so they got the point for that. Jaybone, Baron, and I all picked Trick, so the three of us got a point on that match. I'm the only one that picked Seth to win the steel cage. I got a point on that. Jaybone is the only one that picked Sammy to win the Uwu Championship, so he's the only one that got that. He picked that.
Holy shit! Okay.
And we all picked Tiffany Stratton to win, so we all got a point. Final scores: in fourth place was Dizzy with 1 point. Tied for second with 3 points apiece were Baron and myself. And in first place with 4 points was Jaybone.
That's Sammy. That's a hell of a pick. I don't know if he did that as a joking thing or he really believed that, but props to him because that's it. That shit threw me for a loop.
He said that he thought it was time for Sammy to win.
Yeah. And
that he really thought they were going to pull the trigger on it. And they did. I didn't see it coming. He did. Kudos to him.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Let's get into Slammiversary. This is a bigger card. There were 10 matches. We picked 9. That's because the Elena Black, Indy Hartwell, and Mata Sade was added after. It was a pre-show match too. So I'm going to run down this real quick. There are 2 things that I'm going to comment on as we go through this. Just 2 things. Oh, no, 3 things. And then we'll have a short chat after. So on a pre-show, we had Elena Black defeat Indy Hartwell and Mata Sade in a triple threat match. Ricky Sosa defeated Eric Young, which I actually picked Eric Young because don't fire EY. Cedric Alexander defeated Amazing Red, Fabian Eichner, Frankie Kazarian, Casey Navarro, Leon Slater, and Mr. Elegance in an Ultimate X match for the TNA X Division Championship. Elijah defeated AJ Francis in a singles match. I didn't know the stipulation, or I would have picked Elijah from the beginning. Had Elijah lost, AJ Francis would have owned his name, likeness, and music catalog. I would have picked Elijah because I walked with Elijah, but I really thought that AJ was going to win that. The first thing I want to comment on is apparently Rosemary and Ali adopted a name Sunday at Slammiversary. They are now a tag team known as Demon X Bunny. And they defeated the Elegance brand, Heather and M, with Ash and the personal concierge at ringside to win the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Mustafa Ali defeated Rich Swann and Uha Nation. 2 things I want to point out here. First off, we did not know who the opponents were going to be. This was an open challenge. They made it a triple threat, which actually increased the difficulty of getting it right, even if we had tried. I did not pick Rich Swann because they said it was that they were the rumors had been flying that they were bringing in a former champion from WWE. To me, that implied a world champion, but whatever. I still picked Aleister Black anyway, but that's beside the point. And they brought in Uha Nation. Now, if you don't know who that is, we're going to touch on that more later. That's Apollo Crews. Moose defeated Eddie Edwards. Zaya Brookside defeated Li Ying Li for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. I really thought, they added the Great Hands to this match after. It was a triple threat when we picked. I really thought the Righteous were going to get the win here. The Broken Hardys are the ones that actually got the win. It was a ladder match for the TNA World Tag Team Championship, so I guess the Hardys make some sense. And then Nick Nemeth defeated Mike Santana by pinfall. So at the start of this, Dizzy picked Kaz, so did Frankie Kazarian, so did I. Jaybone picked Amazing Red. None of us got the point. Dizzy and Jaybone picked the Rosemary and Ali, so they both got a point for that match. Eric Young versus Ricky Sosa. Jaybone picked Sosa. Dizzy and I did not get a point. Jaybone did. Mustafa Ali. Dizzy picked Red to be the mystery opponent and to get the win. I picked Aleister Black to be the opponent and get the win. Mustafa Ali won, defeating Wuhan Nation and Rich Swann. So nobody gets a point on this match. Oh, I guess I should point out that's because Jaybone picked Fabulous Moolah. That's on him. We all got the point for Moose. We all got the point for Zaya winning her match. None of us got a point for the ladder match. Dizzy and Jaybone did pick Nick Nemeth. I picked Santana. We're going to talk about him later in the show. Dizzy was the only one that picked Elijah. So the totals for this show, we're going to give Baron 2 points.
Thanks, guys. I'm glad I can get some points on the board there.
All right, so tied for third place is Baron and myself with 2 points apiece. Tied for first place, Dizzy and Jaybone with 5 points apiece. So I didn't get to see the show. I didn't get to see any wrestling over the weekend. There was a lot going on, and I just didn't get to see anything. I am a little disappointed that I didn't get to see anything, but that's all right.
You can go back and watch. That's the beauty of the internet these days. Night of Champions was not bad. I didn't watch Slammiversary fully, but I did catch a few matches. Thanks for the 2 points.
Hey, you're welcome. And I might go back and watch some this week instead of other stuff. Yes, we are going to talk about all of that later in the show, Amir. I promise.
I think, like obviously we want Jaybone here for his opinion on TNA, but I think it's good to talk about with like the shakeup that's happened to TNA, right?
Right.
And who is, I read the article maybe yesterday that Road Dogg is confirmed going to TNA, correct?
That's a really good question.
It stated, he's in the backstage Slammiversary, things along those lines. I don't know if he had any hand into any of production here, but it does sound like he is. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
From what I'm seeing from yesterday, it sounds like he's still going through the motions, but he has not officially signed yet. That's what I'm hearing from multiple websites right now as of yesterday.
Sign the man, put him in there.
I'm really not sure why he's gone from WWE. I mean, I don't make the choices.
Well, he's had a few comments out there. He just didn't like the direction and felt useless, basically.
Right. All right, let's move on to let's talk about some good news. It depends on how you look at it. But from Ringside News, we have a positive update on Jim Ross after his month-long stay in the hospital. Jim Ross is finally getting some good news after spending more than a month in the hospital. The WWE Hall of Famer and AEW commentator took to Twitter and revealed that he is being released from the hospital and heading home after more than 30 days under medical care. After weeks of rough updates, that is the kind of message fans were waiting to see from good old JR. Heading home tomorrow, over 30 days in the hospital, coming to a grateful end. Count your blessings daily. Ross had previously told fans he was on day 22 of his hospital stay in Norman, Oklahoma, while watching the College World Series. Even then, he made it clear he was not giving up. Day 22 in the hospital in Norman, watching CWS Omaha with my Sooner baseball. Thanks for everyone's kind thoughts and prayers. Don't count me out just yet. I'm still fighting. This whole stretch came after a nasty run of health problems, including a fall at home, that caused him to miss a flight before AEW Double or Nothing. Ross later made it to New York to call Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly, but the trip got worse when his back went out the hotel. So I had the alarm set. The driver's going to pick me up, and all of a sudden I fell. I hadn't had a fall in weeks, so I fell, busted my ass. If I had my phone with me, I could have gotten help. So as a result of that, I missed my flight. Then I got to my room on Saturday night. As you can see, I'm still leery. So I laid on the bed and put my ass on the edge of the bed and just relaxed. Little did I know my back was going to go out on me. So now I'm in the hotel with my back out and I can't function. So it was just a horrible experience, and I flew back home on Monday night, but boy, I suffered for a while. Ross has also been open about doctors monitoring him for serious long-term concerns, including possible dementia or Alzheimer's, though he previously said he felt good overall with going through tests. They're worried about dementia or Alzheimer's, and I'm like, what the hell are you going to do about it? There's not a cure. If there's any medicine I should be taking preventatively, tell me what they are, and I'll do it. But, we'll see how it works out. I'm going through a lot of tests. I don't feel bad at all. I feel great, actually. But, getting old is a bitch. Bottom line, after more than a month in the hospital, Ross finally gets to go home. That does not erase everything he has been dealing with, but it is a huge step in the right direction for one of wrestling's most beloved voices. Heading home tomorrow, over 30 days in the hospital, coming to a grateful end. Count your blessings daily. So, first off, I just want to say, Ross, I'm happy for the positive update. I'm so thankful you're heading home. I don't know what we would do without you.
Same. Yeah, I had speedy recovery, man. It really sucks seeing these guys from my childhood, right? It's just weird seeing them get older and struggling through things. And JR's always had some type of health issue throughout his entire life. So, obviously speedy recovery in 30 days in the hospital is, very long time. So get rested.
Yeah. I wanted to start off with some positive news because, damn, I felt like we needed it. We get our fun stories. We get to talk about things that are happening in pro wrestling. But it's been a lot of sad news lately. I mean, Zelina Vega was in an accident. There was another wrestler in an accident. Joe Doering passed away. I thought we deserved some good news for once. And the fact that Ross gets to go home, damn it, that's good news. So I was really hoping that Jaybone would be here for this next thing. I have a story that I pulled up that I wasn't planning on doing the whole story. I just want to read the headline, and I'm going to make a joke. So let's talk about John Cena. From Fightful. No, we're not doing that. I'm sorry, guys. I scrolled too far on my notes. See, I got ahead of myself. Up next, we're going to get into Baron's Buzzkill. Baron, I'm not sure if this insanity will ever end, but from Ringside News, Val Venus claims Cody Rhodes wouldn't survive an MMA fight with him. Val Venus is still going after Cody Rhodes. Now he's fantasy booking himself into an MMA cage with him. After already mocking Cody over his Night of Champions loss to Sami Zayn and dragging Disco Inferno into the mess, Venus jumped back on Twitter with another shot at American Nightmare. This time he brought up Cody's high school wrestling background, compared it to CM Punk's MMA attempt, and claimed Cody still would not survive a real fight with him. Donkey Cud Cody Rhodes has a couple of state championships from his high school days. That's already a better wrestling pedigree than CM Punk had before trying MMA. Then Venus took it even further, saying Cody's wrestling trophies would not mean much if the cage door shut behind him with the big Valboski. But look, Cud Chew Cody in an MMA cage with the big Valboski, Val Venus, and the Cody fantasy, but lock Cud Chew Cody in an MMA cage with the big Valboski, and the Cody fantasy ends the moment the door closes. Venus also claimed Cody Rhodes' confidence is bigger than his actual ability, keeping the insult train rolling after days of posts aimed at the American Nightmare. Wrestling trophies won't prepare him for surviving a real fight. There's a word for someone like Cud Chew Cody, with confidence weighted far more than his abilities. And because a normal tweet apparently was not enough, Venus also included an AI-generated image of himself and Cody inside a cage with a tail of the tape graphic. So yeah, he's not exactly being subtle about wanting attention from this one. This comes after Venus previously claimed Disco Inferno at his worst would mop the floor with Cody, while also posting a donkey-themed Photoshop of Rhodes. Cody has not responded to any of it so far, which might be the smartest play, because Venus clearly keeps throwing bigger bait every time. At this point, Val Venus has gone from mocking Cody's title loss to imagining an MMA cage fight with him. Cody still is not bitten, but Venus is clearly trying everything he can to get a reaction. So I'm going to just describe the image to you. Cody's in his sport coat with the UFC title and pinstripe pants with gloves on. Val has gloves on wearing his purple and silver trunks with a WWE title. I think that's the old Intercontinental title. And it says Val Venus, height 6'2", weight 235 pounds, record 18-4-0, reach 76 inches. Cud-Chew Cody Rhodes, height 6'1", weight 225 pounds, record 22-3-0, reach 74 inches. And Baron, we have clowned on this guy multiple times because he has some incredibly ignorant takes that he posts online. Some of it's about topics we don't talk about. Some of it's about pro wrestlers that are in the business while he's not in the business anymore. Do you think this guy's ever going to stop this shit?
One thing real quick before I say anything. Where did he get the records? What are those? What is that from? 22-3 and 18-4.
I think he made those up.
Was that AI generated to make Cody look better on tail of the tape than himself?
Possibly. Let me pull the image back up and see here.
Well, folks, this is what happens when you smoke bad weed. You have really bad takes, and you have really bad. I mean, obviously, this guy just wants some type of notoriety, right, on social media. This is why he's going after one of the biggest names in wrestling right now, Cody Rhodes. And yeah, man, this guy's an absolute mess all around, from wrestling, personal, everything. Upsetting, sadly.
Yeah, I always hate to see someone I used to enjoy in a ring go down this path.
Yeah, and the path is, there's a path, Jordan path, good weed, and there's a Val Venus path, bad weed. And that's what happens.
What was that first path?
Jordan path.
You mean the Baron path?
The Baron path. Yeah, which we all know. I mean, it's literally, I was going to say it's literally in my Twitter name, but never mind. But yeah, the guy's an absolute mess, man.
Listen, I'm going to be as respectful as possible. Val, please seek help. I think you need it. Also, I'd like to quote Robin Williams from Good Morning Vietnam. Val, you are in more dire need of a blowjob than any white man in history. All right. I think we will save this first part for when Jaybone gets here. And we're going to just go into the desk of Max Magius. I really wanted to discuss this story because he's right. And it's something we've seen multiple times over the years. From Fightful, John Cena says authenticity is more important than chemistry. The audience can see through bullshit. John Cena preaches the importance of authenticity. Chemistry has been an essential part of wrestling since its inception. But if you ask John Cena, authenticity is the most important trait that a performer can possess. I would say it's not as important as authenticity. Chemistry is fun because you don't have to worry about mechanically achieving something. You can strictly pull all of your resources towards physical creativity. If you are unauthentic, the audience can see through bullshit. Authenticity, believability, and character is the most important metric. All of the other stuff is a bonus. Cena told First We Feast Slice Joint for a new interview. Earlier this month, Cena said that Eric Andre would succeed as a performer in WWE, which is apparently the lead off to another article. So I picked this for a reason tonight. I want to be clear about something. Any chance I get to give you guys a little insight into the business, to understand stuff, I do. This to me was, and I can't really add much to the insight that he offered. Authenticity is very important. If they don't buy what you're doing, they're going to go elsewhere to get their entertainment. And how many times have we seen this? Fans don't like the bullshit a company is putting forth, and they watch a competitor instead. It happened during the Monday Night Wars. And then the finger poke of doom caused it to go back the other way. We saw it when AEW debuted, and then they put out bullshit. Then people went to watch the Triple H era. listen, you can't just hand them everything they demand. But please listen to the audience. When a majority of your fans are complaining about something you are doing, perhaps it's time to change what you are doing. Hint, hint, TKO, look at your prices. The fans made it clear they didn't like the lack of story in AEW. And AEW is doing a little better now. Don't even get me started on the end of the Vince McMahon era, but that's another good example. At the end of the day, you need to give the fans authenticity, which is what the New Day story was when Big E showed back up after his injury. That's what we got when KO, Orton, Cody were doing their story. Authenticity talks, bullshit walks. Thoughts, Barry?
I 100% agree. And I mean, I'm never going to go against the Cena, right? Like, he knows this business better than anyone, right? And that's why he resonated so hard with the fans throughout the years. He went through a pretty rough path, with the fans there for a while because he was slammed down people's throat. But like, people always believe in him, and I think that is the most important thing in wrestling, right? Like, you got to be able to believe him. So, yeah, he nailed it.
And that's a good point. Whether you cheered for him or you booed him, whether you loved him or you hated him, you still believed that he was who he said he was.
Yeah, always. Nobody will ever doubt that on Cena. So yeah, no.
Yeah. And everybody thought AJ Styles was a soccer mom towards the end of his career, but that's a story for another night. I guess we're going to go ahead and get into some TNA news because that's what we have next. I mean, I suppose we could do the Tony Khan story to buy Jaybone a little more time.
I don't think Jaybone's showing.
You think he's going to be too tied up and he's going to miss us all together tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me do what I was going to do with him here real quick, and then we'll move on to TNA. This is another story from Fightful, and I'm only going to read you the headline, and then I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'm sorry he's not here to hear the joke. He'll just have to hear it later. Story from Fightful, John Cena goes bald for a second round of FUE treatment. Now, I had to look this up. I had no idea what it was, but FUE or follicular unit extraction is a hair restoration technique where a surgeon extracts individual healthy hair follicles directly from a donor area, usually on the back of the head, and implants them into thinning or balding areas. It is the most popular transplant method due to its natural results and lack of linear scarring. So, good news, Jaybone. We have a fix for that head of yours.
I have to say this, though. He looks really good bald.
Cena?
Cena, yeah.
How would you know? I saw a picture of a doctor standing there awkwardly, but I didn't see anybody in the picture with him.
You don't see him. You can't say that no more. You can see John Cena. He's done.
Yeah.
But he looks good with bald. And damn you fans for being a piece of shit towards him on social media about that bald spot of his.
Yeah.
To make him go do this. But he actually looked pretty good bald, actually. So maybe stick with that.
I mean, I missed the buzz cut days. I thought it was weird when he came back with the full head of hair, looking kind of like Jim Varney, but, you know, it is what it is.
Hollywood hair he's got flowing. He didn't, but I'd say stay bald because it looks pretty good.
Yes, Mir. We know. We weren't going to announce it, though. We were just going to say he was dealing with some in real life stuff. That's where we planned on leaving it. So up next, let's go ahead and get into some TNA news. The Amazing Red is going to be bestowed with an honor for this story comes from Ringside News. Amazing Red announced for TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame induction during Slammiversary 2026. Slammiversary 2026 was an important night for the company as they started the path to Bound for Glory. This also included a big announcement for the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame, which will go down right before the company's biggest event of the year. Amazing Red may not have walked out of TNA Slammiversary 2026 with the X Division Championship, but he still left Boston with one of the biggest moments of the night. The TNA Wrestling OG will soon be a Hall of Famer. moments after Cedric Alexander retained the title in controversial fashion during the Ultimate X match, TNA announced that Amazing Red will be inducted into the 2026 class of TNA Hall of Fame. The announcement came after fellow TNA original Frankie Kazarian grabbed a microphone and paid tribute to Red's career. Frankie Kazarian spoke about breaking into TNA alongside Amazing Red and said an entire generation of wrestlers exists because of Amazing Red's influence. He then directed everyone's attention to the video screen where a Hall of Fame tribute package played before the official announcement. The Boston crowd responded with a loud ovation as Red soaked in the moment. Amazing Red is a former 4-time X Division champion. He introduced a style that was years ahead of its time, and he inspired a ton of wrestlers after him in the process. A Hall of Fame spot is well-deserved, and he will receive that honor at Bound for Glory. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Of the names in that match, I have a lot of respect for Amazing Red. I have a lot of respect for Frankie Kazarian. These guys have done a lot for this business over the years. Back when I still watched TNA, Amazing Red was a huge part of the X Division back then. I cannot deny that this is a well-deserved honor. He is not the only one. Before I get Baron's thoughts on this, I would like to point out that they also have announced that Conan, who is dealing with some health issues himself, will also be inducted at Bound for Glory this year. So congrats to both of these men.
Yeah, both are, well deserved. I don't know much about Conan TNA run. I really don't. I mean, Amazing Red, from the moment I've watched TNA, there's a handful of people from that early age of TNA that really made this company what it is, right? From the 6-side ring to the X Division. X Division, to me, is still one of the best. I mean, it still is the best moment of TNA's history, in my personal opinion. Some of the best matches. Yeah. So, no, well-deserved. A year after AJ Styles goes in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
didn't he go?
AJ was inducted in April. Amazing Red is October. I don't think AJ's been inducted in TNA yet. He should be. But just so you know, in TNA, Conan was part of the LAX, the Latin American Exchange. He was part of 3 Live Crew. And LAX actually is the one I know him most for from TNA. It was him, Hernandez, and Homicide. I really enjoyed watching the guys. I mean,
I remember him in LAX, but it wasn't like, wasn't a big moment of me watching during that period of time, I want to say.
Right. And it was one of the things that I actually watched quite regularly was the LAX era, the Main Event Mafia.
How many people go into the Hall of Fame in TNA yearly? Is this the only 2 that's been announced for Bound for Glory? Or is there more? I don't know how that truly works in TNA.
How many inductions does TNA?
I feel like they had 2 last year. But nonetheless, I'm happy for them. I'm glad there's a Hall of Fame for TNA. So great.
This typical class is 2 to 3 inductees. The inaugural class only had 1. You want to guess who that was?
I have no idea.
I'll give you a hint. Had it been a different company, he'd have probably been in the rafters for his induction.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
So,
Stinger, right?
Yes. Sting, yes. Yes. Santana and Ortiz as well. Congratulations. You guys deserve it. And not just for his time in TNA with LAX 2.0, 3 Live Crew, all that. Conan has been a big influence across pro wrestling. I'm glad to see him getting honored for all the work he's done over the years. So, All right, let's see what we have next. TNA has unveiled something new from Ringside News. This story is actually from 6 days ago. There is newer information, but the news sites that I was able to pull up didn't have the updated stories. So we're going to go with this. I've got a tweet that goes with it, and we're going to discuss what we know about it. TNA Wrestling discussing new women's championship. TNA Wrestling, maybe it is, adding more gold to the Knockouts division. Fightful Select reports that a new championship has been pitched within TNA, and it could be coming to television in the near future. Details are still tight, but the idea being discussed is some kind of mid-card women's championship. That would be a pretty big move for TNA, especially with the Knockouts division already being one of the company's strongest calling cards over the years. A secondary women's title could give more talent something to chase and help build more stories outside the main Knockouts championship picture. As of now, there is no word on what the title would be called. There is, I have that, or what the belt would look like. I believe they have unveiled it. An announcement could soon come if the plan is finalized. It has been, but things could still shift due to the recent creative changes in the company. That's still a possibility. There's also another interesting piece to this. A women's tournament is also planned for July, which we now know is for the new championship. They've been going through a lot of changes. Adding another title into the women's division is a way to shake up the product fast. The question is whether this new title actually makes it a television. Who gets a chance to become the first champion? Well, first off, it is going to make it to television. It better make it to television because this title is the Knockouts Television Championship. I happen to know what the tournament brackets look like for this title, and we are going to go over that right now. It's going to be play out over the coming weeks on Impact, and the action will first take place this Wednesday and Thursday in Albany. So our first bracket will be Indy Hartwell versus Vicky Venuto, Harley Hudson versus Thea Hale, Elena Black will take on Wendy Chu, In by Elegance will take on Rosemary. That's the left side of the card. On the right side of the card, we have Jada Stone facing off against Alicia Edwards. Jody Threat will take on Gabby Forza. Mara Sade will take on Tasha Steeles. And Heather by Elegance will be taking on Allie, as in Rosemary and Allie. So they're both in the tournament. Easily they could face each other. Heather and Im could end up facing each other in the finals. But what I like is that they split those two teams up and put them on opposite sides. So
that's smart. That's really smart, booking it that way. And that's great that they are getting an additional title. I think women's divisions, if booked properly, because a lot of times we don't see that, right? It's super beneficial, especially with the stacked roster they have of knockouts. So, yeah, kudos to them for that.
And here's my problem, okay? I love this idea. My problem is not with TNA on this, what I'm about to say. I love that they're giving their knockouts division the shine. I love that they're trying to elevate them by adding another title. I love this. Let's talk about WWE. They still have their main women's titles. I love that. We have a mid-card championship for the WWE for the women. We have a women's US, women's Intercontinental. Great. Here's where my problem comes in. You unified the SmackDown women's titles and the NXT women's titles, and then you went one step further and you unified those two titles with the Raw women's tag team titles. No big deal. That's fine. You know what? The plan was, as you told us, was that the titles would get defended for all three. Here's my problem with that. I feel like the focus has been Raw and SmackDown. TNA ain't getting the love, and TNA deserves the love. So, you should either NXT, not TNA. So you should either reintroduce some NXT women's tag titles and just leave these titles floating back and forth because that's what you wanted to do, or bring TNA into this once or NXT into this once in a while. NXT deserves their turns as NXT Tag Team Champions.
I agree, but they also NXT doesn't have that. They don't have a roster for a tag team, women's tag team. There's maybe one. Is there even one team?
I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't think there is. There's a lot of people that have moved from to the main roster, and even in TNA. So they can't do it, but I think they should if they do have.
But here's the thing: you have enough female talent on your NXT roster that you could build a women's tag team division. Don't just go willy-nilly going, you know what, you two are teaming up against you two. You know, make it make sense, but you have enough women to make it work. If we go with the route that we just keep the one set of titles for all three shows, you don't need that many women's tag teams from NXT. You really don't. If you're going to bring back women's NXT tag team titles, then you would actually need to build a full division. But you only need a couple of women's teams to face off with the Raw and SmackDown women. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
So, all right, let's talk about some new arrivals before. But before we get into our next story, Barhausen messaged me earlier today, and I want to share this exchange. He says, LOL, WWE fired half of Gorillas of Destiny and the Motor City Machine Guns and hire Enzo and Cass. What the fuck? And I replied, LOL, oh, hey, by the way, Enzo and Cass are coming back and Baron Corbin might be too. Did I forget to mention all of that? Also, yeah, it seems like a shitty trade. Look, I like Enzo and Cass. Enzo caused some problems backstage. Let's not even talk about his legal issues. That's completely different from what I am bringing up. Enzo alienated himself in the locker room. So at the end of the day, even though I like Enzo and Cass, who is better for the company? Motor City Machine Guns and the Gorillas of Destiny, or Enzo and Cass? You know what I mean?
TKO, WWE, money, no money. Meaning those two, unfortunately, will generate some type of revenue. Those other two tag teams, they didn't. No, they wouldn't generate anything. So, I mean, I hate seeing both of them release as well, but Enzo and Cass brings a little shock factor. They're going to sell some merch. That, you know, it makes sense to me, despite all the other stuff that happened with Cass or Enzo. So, but I don't know if that's confirmed. Are they officially signed? I don't think that's true.
My understanding is that they have been seen at Full Sail. It sounds like they are. Let me see here. I had heard recently that they were spotted at Full Sail and that they were expected to return soon.
Okay. I mean, hey, good for them. They're going to get a good pop, that's for sure.
That's true. Enzo was recently spotted training at the Performance Center in Orlando, while Big Bill has given notice to AEW and is apparently heading back to WWE. That's what I'm seeing online right now. So, all right. So let's talk about some new arrivals and some departures. TNA is planning regular talent arrivals after their recent cuts. TNA just went through a rough round of cuts, but apparently the door is not just swinging one way. According to Fightful Select, new talent arrivals in TNA are expected to be a regular thing throughout the summer. That comes right after the company let several people go and faced questions about why cuts were happening, even after landing its new AMC TV deal. New talent arrivals in TNA are expected to be a regular occurrence throughout the summer months, per sources. That makes the timing a little messy. Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that TNA is still losing money even after landing its new United States TV deal with AMC for Thursday Night Impact, That reportedly played a role in the mid-June cost-cutting moves. Before I go any further in this story, I want to point out two things here. First off, stop getting your news from Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave has been known to post misinformation and then block people for pointing it out to him. He claims that things changed, which, I'm sorry, with the sheer amount of stuff he put out that turned out to be false, there is zero world where that many things changed. Sorry. The second thing I want to point out is TNA has been improving. So if it's true that they're still losing money, I don't understand why. I know we haven't watched a whole lot of it ourselves, Baron and I, but it doesn't make sense to me that they're still losing money when what I have seen has been greatly improved over the last several years.
Well, to make improvements, you have to spend money, right? So this is over budgeting. This is why you make roster cuts. You're going to bring in new people. They're going to be pricey. Road Dogg's not going to be cheap. You know, there's many factors to why they would be and probably are losing. But you have to lose money to make money. If you have a good product, at the end of the day, viewership's the only thing that matters. And technically speaking, TNA's viewership is not that great. So, you know, that's the big thing. But the positive they have is like that the production, everything, booking, wrestling, everything has changed for the better, not the worse. So that is a positive. And it takes time to make money when you're spending money like that. Production, camera angles, everything looks different than it did before. So that's going to be the main factor. So he's probably right about that. I could see that happening.
And here's another thing I want to point out. I don't want you to go as far as TKO has gone with WWE ticket prices, TNA. But you might consider raising your ticket prices a little bit. You have some of the cheapest tickets out there, but every time I see one of your shows, it looks like you're pretty full. I think a couple of dollars would not hurt you in the long run, and it might help you. I'm thinking $5-10 a ticket higher than what you're at.
You're going to upset a lot of TNI fans here tonight with that one, Max.
You're still going to get one of the cheapest tickets in the business, and it's worth it.
Okay.
I'd probably pay $20 more than what they're charging per ticket right now before I started to question whether it was a good idea.
Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking $5-10. The fans will probably go for that. So, let me finish the story and then we can continue talking about this. The TNA previously described those cuts as workforce reduction, meant to streamline operations and sharpen strategy. Behind the scenes, though, people were wondering how strong the AMC deal really was if jobs were still getting eliminated. The cut hit several names. Tommy Dreamer parted ways with the company. Sami Callihan was fired, and TNA's production team also took heavy losses. Tessa Blanchard, Steve Macklin, Myla Grace also exited in recent weeks. Although, are any of us surprised that Tessa Blanchard is gone? Seriously? Alden Prince later confirmed he was gone too, saying the news hit hard after years with the company. Here's what he said. Yesterday, I got the call. I was let go from TNA. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't bummed. My work has been so much of my life for the last 4 or 5 years. Thank you, everyone I had the pleasure of working with. So TNA is cutting costs while also apparently preparing to add talent. That sounds strange on paper, but it may mean the company is trying to reshape the roster instead of simply shrink it. With the AMC deal, the WWE crossover attention all hitting at once, TNA seems to be making moves in both directions. Now, the question is whether those new arrivals will make the cuts feel like part of a bigger reset or just create more confusion about what TNA's real plan is this summer. We've already talked about one of those names is the man formerly known as Apollo Crews, and that is Uhaa Nation. Indy Hartwell recently joined them not too long ago. There are a lot. Elena Black is one of the newest acquisitions that we've seen. But on the subject of people leaving, Santana has also announced that he is done with the company following Slammiversary. So we're seeing it go both ways, people coming in, people going out. But we do see this a lot. WWE has released a lot of names. We just talked about several. And then they've hired Enzo and Big Cass. So, there's a balance in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, are the big thing is, are the cuts happening to free up space for larger acquisitions of people, right? Like, I can't imagine Apollo Crews costs too much money to come over to TNA. And I don't think that's going to help TNA out at all. That is no. So, I feel like there's some other things we're not privy of, and I think that's a great question we should be asking Jaybone when he's back. Is like, what internally is truly happening? Is a restructure because of, my piece would be is like, they got the TV deal. Let's get some notable faces, bigger stars on this to draw in more people, right? So, but people just leaving the company tells me there's something else happening back there. Santana's been around for many years. So that's a shocking one.
Yeah. Well, he's been a part of the business for years, and he was part of TNA for a while, but he just recently made his return, a year or so ago to TNA?
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised about him because, as was pointed out in the chat, he was part of LAX 2.0.
Yeah.
Along with Ortiz. So I am surprised by some of the cuts. Others I'm not so surprised by. I'm intrigued to see what comes next. I really am. So, all right, Baron, I know how you feel about this next topic, but I feel like this is kind of important to discuss. We have seen this happen before. We have seen WWE book a show on a weekend that AEW is doing a show. Usually it's not like in the next town over or anything like that. So I really don't see the big deal because in the modern streaming era, you can still watch both shows. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but to some people it might be. So up next from Ringside News, Tony Khan addresses WWE pitting NXT Heatwave and AAA against AEW All In London. Tony Khan saw WWE's latest scheduling move, and he is choosing to take it as a compliment. During the AEW Forbidden Door post-show media scrum, Khan was asked about WWE announcing NXT Heatwave and a AAA event for August 30th, the same day AEW All In goes down at Wembley Stadium in London. Rather than fire off a full rant, Khan leaned into the old Wrestling War energy and brought up Jim Crockett Productions. He said, "I did see it. Yeah, it's good. It's double the compliment to be the Crockett guy. Twice as nice as they were to Jimmy. That's great. I'll be sure to take it that way." The timing was hard to miss. NXT announced Heatwave during Great American Bash while the show was airing against AEW in JPW Forbidden Door, and the AAA event will run earlier the same day in Edinburgh, Texas. It continues WWE's recent habit of putting major NXT or WWE adjacent programming on the same dates as AEW's biggest shows. But Khan did not seem interested in getting dragged too deep into that fight. He said, "I think we're going to have a great AEW All In. I can't speak to what the other promotions are doing, but I did see that announcement. I saw that with our own show going on tonight." Khan's message was pretty simple. He noticed, but he's keeping his focus on All In. Then get rid of the nose candy and focus more. AEW has Wembley Stadium coming up, and instead of making the conversation all about WWE, he said his job is to make sure AEW delivers its own big show. Oh, sorry. So all I can do is hope we have a very good show and prepare that we will have a very good show for AEW All in London. So, I mean, this isn't the first time. We saw this 2 months back. They added ESPN's first PLE, actually. What was that called? They added that in Indianapolis while AEW was in Canada. WrestlePalooza, not WrestlePalooza. WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like we haven't seen this happen before. I don't really see a big deal with it in the modern era. I mean, you got AAA and NXT that are going to be booked opposite of each other, so WWE is competing with itself anyway. I can sit down and watch all 3 shows over the course of the weekend, and it's not going to hurt to watch all 3 shows. I don't see why people would have a problem with this. And if WWE is doing it in an effort to try and take away views from AEW, look, it's the streaming era, guys. That's not how this works anymore. Back in the day, when it was all pay-per-view, yeah, you would have pulled away from their buy rate, but it's not the same.
No, it's in Wembley. It's going to be a different time zone. It's going to be on earlier. I'm not sure what the problem is here. It's not. I think people get too wrapped up as like, oh, we're going to put on an NXT show or a AAA show when AEW's doing their biggest show.
Right.
It's not going to pull away viewerships for AEW. The people that are watching AEW is watching AEW. They're not gaining more people from anywhere. At least I don't think so. I don't think NXT. I think people that want to watch NXT are watching it, and I think people that are watching AEW are now officially watching it. I don't think either promotion is driving in any new traffic for the most part.
Right.
And it should be a different time zone. One's in the States, one's in London, right? One show is going to be 18 hours long, and the other 2 combined will be 8.
Well, since that one's going to be 18 hours long, it is going to roll over.
Is there a start time for that?
I'm looking it up right now. The poster does not have the start time. Oh, there's another one. No, that's a picture of Wembley. I do not see the start time for All In, but I'm going to be honest right now. Since they usually kick off their pre-show at what? Yep, here it is. I've got the start time. I don't know if that's the pre-show. Okay, the pre-show will start probably an hour prior. So we're talking 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So the pre-show will probably start at 12:30 your time, 11:30 a.m. my time. No, that's the card. So the pre-show is going to start at 10:30 my time, 11:30 yours. Wow.
I'm tired of these day PLEs on the weekend, man. I'm sick of them. I'm going to be honest. I got a life. I love wrestling, but like I can't sit home and watch it when it's gorgeous outside.
We are not. You and I both know that we are not planning to watch All In anyway.
Oh, I mean, I always flip to all wrestling. Now, do I sit and watch it? No. All, meaning like it's just impossible to watch that long. If they're All In is still playing when Heat Wave and AAA is on, then we have a problem. That's way too long.
Well, it's going to be. I'll come back to that in 1 second. I need one more piece of information. Oh, that's not what I need. Let's add this. Okay, so here's what we have. The Lucha Libre AAA event on Sunday, August 30th begins at 11 a.m. your time, so 10 a.m. my time. And NXT Heatwave will kick off at 2 o'clock your time, 1 o'clock my time. So it is going to completely overlap.
Why? Why are they starting it so early? Especially if they're in... Just because of AEW, then. It has to be.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what it is.
Okay. So, yeah, that's interesting. So they do want to... I don't like that. I don't like that from either parties. I don't care what promotion it is. I don't care what booger sugar it's got going on. But, like, just separate yourself away from this. It's not competitive. Neither one is competing against each other.
But honestly, even if that's what they're doing, and AEW is taking it that way, but taking it as a compliment, that's not how it works in the modern era. AAA will probably be on YouTube. Heatwave will be on the CW, which means that if you have YouTube TV. You can watch it anytime after it airs. And All in London will be on the HBO Max app. So it doesn't matter. I can watch all three. I could probably watch all three of them on Saturday. All right, I take that back. I can watch the first two on Saturday, start AEW on Saturday, and finish it sometime on Monday. But that is completely beside the point. So
if you finish it.
yeah, if I stay awake long enough to finish it, I do got to go back to work at some point. So, all right, that is going to do it for Ramblers Unleashed tonight. Until next time, Baron, how can they find you?
Apparently, you can find me on the Twitter at the Rambler Pod. But yes, please go there and follow us if you haven't already. That is our official Twitter. Or you can follow me at Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's.
All right. Jaybone was supposed to be here. We'll shout him out. Follow Jaybone at Jaybone5150 on Twitter, I think.
Yes.
He still does Twitter, right?
I think. I'm not sure. I don't even do Twitter.
Follow me at Max Magius. If you like tonight's show, click the like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. And maybe consider hitting the bell icon so you're notified anytime we go live. Guys, I want to thank you all for being here. It means a lot that people show up and watch us because, we just like to ramble. And if people weren't watching us ramble about wrestling, Baron and I would probably find another topic to ramble about. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Until next time, find something you like and go watch it.
Peace. Peace and love.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming episodes.